Saludos, compañeros. No he transmitido mi mensaje en mucho tiempo, pero la revolución sobrevive. Comrades, I greet you again after a very long time. Of course, the greeting there, I just used Google Translate. Don't vouch for the accuracy of that, but of course it's for Tropico 6. But before we get into anything else, comrades, I just want to say I am still alive. Of course, my work is keeping me super busy and it's quite difficult for me to find the time to record. And now on top of that, I am also going to Egypt later in this month for a work conference. So that is something else that I have to be preparing for and all of that. But I'm still here, so for your continued patience, comrades, I thank you because obviously I'm missing in action, but I'm still here. So in spirit at least. At any rate, today, of course, Tropico 6 is, how shall we say, the game du jour at the moment. And the Tropico series is anyway one that I have been following since the very beginning. So this was an obvious choice for me. Now, of course, I don't want to make a full series out of this because we have so many series that are still going on and that are not complete yet. So I don't want to add to that, especially since the episodes are so few and far between. But I thought, just as a way of saying I'm still alive, let's do 1 or 2 episodes of Tropico 6. Now, of course, the only way you can get this now, because it's a closed beta still, you have to go to the Tropico 6 website and then pre-order it there, and then they give you a Steam code for that. So, of course, there's always the caveat of pre-ordering games because you never know what you're going to get in the end. But as I said, because Tropico is something I've always enjoyed, I just thought this is a natural thing. I'll absolutely do it in this case. And, of course, we could see what it looks like already. You know, so many people are playing it at the moment. Keralis is one of them. I've been watching his Tropico series for a long time. And so I thought, yes, definitely I'll pre-order this. And I've been playing it for a little while and I'm really enjoying it. So let's see what we can do, comrades. We're not going to get super far, but hey, it shows I'm still alive. So in this case, I'm going to say new game. And I have to say it runs very smoothly. I maxed out all of the various settings. I can show you all of that. The only thing is my computer is overheating a little bit because it's starting to warm up here now. It's the beginning of summer here. Now let's just have a look. So this is all the audio things, gameplay, graphics, there we go. So I don't know, I don't understand what the temporal AA is versus an FX AA, but anyway, there's my ignorance. But I just put everything on high and ultra and whatnot, and it's running absolutely smoothly here. So seems to be very polished in that sense. Anyway, let's get into new game. Now, of course, they do have a tutorial here if you are new to Tropico, but since I'm an old veteran, I don't need that, but I still played it through because it's some extra things you can do. Missions, there are only 2 at the moment in this beta, so that's a limited choice, but at least it gives you some sense of what the final product will be like. Now, I have finished this first one. I was still busy with the second one, but because of the whole disasters focus of this mission, I was struggling a little bit, so I think I'll restart that at some point. But still a lot of fun, especially this first one, because this is where you meet Penultimo, and of course Penultimo is your very loyal aide there, as they say. But if you look at the sandbox, you have a few more choices. There's 4 maps, I think, yes. So it's obviously the same as the missions, but you get 2 extra maps. There's the one with the disasters scenario. Then you also have some other ones. I think this one is the Penultimo mission as well. So the 2 from the missions. I'm not sure if we'll have a random map thing here. I can't see anything of that nature, so we might not actually. But of course the previous Tropicos did have that. Perhaps they're still working on that. It's obviously still in the beta stage, so we can't be sure about everything yet. But in any case, let's have a look here. So we have 2 maps then. I don't want to do one of the scenarios because I've played that already. So let's have a look. We have Columnas Rotas here and Destrozado. Interesting names. Now again, I'm not going to do any disasters and things. I tend to struggle a bit with that. So let's just have a look. Now of course we can set up all of the various things here. Just want to see density, medium, rough elevation. Maybe that's not so good with the rough elevation. What about this one? It's also rough. Also rough. Also rough. Well, it's all the same then. Let's have a look. Anything else? Archipelago. So I think you also have some choices to play maps like this one here that are not an archipelago like we had in all the other Tropico games. But I have to say I like this archipelago feature. It's a very nice thing. You can really expand with that. So I think let's take this one. Let's make up our minds and pick this one. So it will be the colonial era, 75 population. I'll keep everything on default. It seems to work quite well. Of course we could make it easier, but let's leave it on that and see what we get. Comrades? Right, so let's pause immediately. There we are. This is interesting. I've never seen this map before. So let's have a look, quick overview before we do anything else. So of course at this point we are in the colonial era. Now if you don't know anything about Tropico, you are basically the ruler of this nation here. Now if we look off into the distance we can see some of the other Caribbean island nations, I suppose, or at least colonies in this era. But this is your country, at least it will be. In this time it is a colony. Now, a colony of whom I'm not sure yet, because it seems to be that the colonial representative is British, but it's a Spanish colony. So maybe it used to be a Spanish colony and now it's administered by Britain. That sort of thing happened a lot during those days. At any rate, here is the palace, and of course this is how can I say, the condition that you must always keep your palace in place, otherwise you lose the game. So if the people are really upset with you, they will rise up against you and destroy the palace. Now of course we don't want that. Then yes, that's the little town that we have at the moment. Not much, but this is back in the 19th century, I would imagine. Let's just have a quick look at the population here. So I have to say the almanac works really well for me. It's definitely been polished a lot here. So we've got 75 people, of whom 33 are currently unemployed, which is a good thing because we're going to be expanding quite a bit in this early phase of the game. Now we do have 13 high school educated unemployed citizens, which is interesting because I think in the older games of Tropico, getting the higher education at the start was a lot more difficult. You had to import workers from other countries to actually get those skills, but we start with a relatively high number of those citizens already. So let's just see. Of course we have our banana plantation. I was thinking that might be a corn plantation, but that's just fine. Of course this is what keeps our citizens alive at the moment. Most of them live here in these various bunkhouses, which I really love. I have to say, and this is echoing Corrales a little bit, the detail work in this game is absolutely stunning, spectacular. I absolutely love it. Then we also have some country houses and a small chapel. Again, this is the early days of the colony. We have a teamster's office and a construction office. So these are the utility buildings of our colony. Now to plan things, let's have a look at the overlays. And we do have this nice archipelago view, so we can zoom out very far and see the whole place in one go. Now let's just look at the mining resources first. I'll just put all of them on. So we have to be mindful of these as we expand, especially right here. So we have 2 iron mines right next to the village here. So of course we'll have to be mindful of that. I think I'll just build some mines to begin with, because I don't want to build over those resources. We also have a coal mine that we can build there. I think we can ignore the rest for now. There's some gold mines up here, which is very nice. Perhaps we should go to those as well. But the rest are of course just the same coal and iron. Doesn't look like we have any nickel. So if we want to create weapons here, we'll need to import that. Aluminum also don't have that, so it's a very good thing to just take stock when you start a Tropico game to see what is going on. Do we have any uranium? We're not going to get that far, but still it's good to know. So let's have a look. The first thing then is to boost the economy a little bit. We can have a look at this economy tab, but it's of course 0 at the moment because we've just started the game, but you can run into very serious trouble with that quickly. So we want to expand with a growth focus in mind. So let's put the mines in place. Now of course I'll just do this while we're paused. Let's just say all resources. And of course the pollution of this is not going to be so great, but at the end of the day these mines are not going to be here forever. They do get depleted eventually. Let's create this one as well and just place it there. As long as it's over the deposit it's fine. And then just a road. Of course I just have to connect this as well. Might as well go through and straight on there. And that's it. I think we'll start with that, comrades. Of course we only have one construction office, so we don't want to overtax them there. Then I think we might actually also create some logging camps perhaps, although this part of the island doesn't seem to really have any forests, just a few palm trees. So maybe let's just have a look at the construction menu again. Logging camp, no, you see this could work, but I don't think we have to worry about that. But the coconut harvester, I think that could really work. There's even a few spots here, so we might even put that right next to the mine there. Unfortunately we're destroying some of the trees, but I think it will be enough to keep it going there. Then where am I? Of course I'm the governor, not the El Presidente at this point. And there I am, so obviously inspecting everything. I think I also like the customization. Of course, it seems we have some fewer options at this point than we had with Tropico 5. But still, you can make a lot with this, and I'm sure they might expand that. Who knows? But the outfit, because this is the colonial era, I don't want to get the default one because I'm not the Presidente yet. The pirate one could work, but it's locked because I haven't done the Pirate King mission because it's not available yet. Soldier, that could work. Mafia, I think that's a little anachronistic there. Pharaoh is not going to work, I think. Hawaiian tourist. Let's take the soldier, at least that looks a bit more generic there. And the hat can be the sort of Hawaiian tourist one. Just a bit more, you know, it has that sense of the 19th century and the haciendas and all of that. The cigar can stay. The glasses, it's interesting, there's no image for the Hawaiian tourist one. We'll say no glasses. I'm not sure there were sunglasses back in the day. Beard can stay, hair can stay, ethnic type can stay. Everything else I'll keep the same. So we'll just exit with that. There we are. There's the new El Presidente or El Governor. I'm not sure what that is in Spanish. So there's the first mine done, and of course the first unemployed citizens are joining the workforce there. Hey, at least it's an almost human protocol, so that's something, I guess. So what do we have on this island? We have this lake here. Of course we can't use that. This is not a navigable channel here, but it's something nice possibly for the tourists one day. Let's actually have a look at the beauty of the island. Now where on earth is that? There, beauty, yes. You see, very clear advantage of building your hotels and so on next to this lovely lake. So I guess we want to avoid building our industries in that area. Then the second mine is also up and we're busy with the coconut harvester. Now I have to say I did another game. It was the same map on that disaster scenario where I started to expand on the other islands first, and I don't think that worked out so well. We have to really maximize what we have nearby before we start building on the outlying islands. Just because it takes people a while to get there, because of course we don't have cars at this point. So everything has to be done by foot, and of course if they take the boat and then they have to walk on the other side, it can take really long to build things on other islands at this point. Of course, we do have some small islands nearby, which is a nice thing actually. Let's have a look at the beauty thing again. Okay, there's a mission coming in. Just want to see. So this would also be fantastic for hotels and various tourist accommodations. Speaking of hotels, good grief, I'm still busy booking my hotel in Egypt. So much stress. Visas and all of that. I'm still in the process. Anyway.
Choices, isn't it? Choices like continue as governor or begin a new career in manual labor.
So there's of course Lord Roger Wyndham, and he is our crown representative. So it could also be that the Spanish crown just hired a British person as their representative. You never know. But we want to build a tannery, and of course that means we have to build a cattle ranch. I think that will be, we could probably do a crocodile one as well. We'll have to look at the terrain. But this is good because it gives us the extra mandate time that we can stay as governor. If that runs out, we lose the game. So let's have a look again, back to the overlays, and just see cattle. That's everywhere. That's fantastic. And crocodiles, that would also work. That's a new feature, of course, of Tropico 6, so we might do it somewhere here, actually.
Governor, the people have a request, but for safety reasons, it is a secret request.
So, Sofia Ortega is, of course, working to free our colony from the crown, and so she's really our friend in this era. The revolutionaries are good in the first era, but bad in the other ones, because, of course, then they're trying to rebel against your rule. So they want a pirate cove, and I can absolutely agree with that. That's something we can use to conduct some illicit activities. But I think let's focus on the tannery and all of that first. Now, how shall we extend this road? Maybe like this. Doesn't always have to be a nice grid here. We can create some different shapes and so on. Now, I think we still have more than enough money, so let's get, okay, let me just think now. The ranch is what I'm looking for. 2 of the crocodile ones. You know, the advantage of that is also if I have political enemies, I can just take them to the crocodile ranch and feed them there to the crocodiles. Wasn't that in a James Bond movie a long time ago? I think so. So once that's done, we'll get the tannery possibly closer to the port so we can export that. I should also be looking for a tannery contract here. Doesn't seem that we have one at this point, but we'll get some more in 5 months. Just because we make more money if we export things on a contract than if we just export them normally. Of course, that's not a loss, it's just an extra bonus if you do have a contract. Then we also have some shacks forming here, and that means, of course, our people don't have enough housing and they want to live in this area, so that's why they're building the shacks here, and that means we should be building houses in this area as well. So let's just put a road down. 2 spaces. I think we'll just stick with the bunkhouses because we don't really have wealth in the colony at the moment. We can actually have a look at that. Yes, it's all broken poor, so some of the bunkhouses like this one we should stack them higher because that allows the broke citizens to live there. So let's do that first just to see if it actually makes a difference. Maybe we don't even need to build more houses because there's still so much room available. Yes, they're starting to move in there. Okay, that's good. Also, you don't want people living in shacks because they could be paying rent. Like this. At least we're getting something out of them then. Now, are the... no, crocodile ranches are not finished yet. They really want us to get the trade deals going, but I want to wait to see if we can get a leather or what does a tannery make again? Shows I haven't played the game enough yet. But anyway, that's what we want. Uneducated. So, I think, do we need to build more houses now?
Did I forget something?
Broke. No, they should be moving into these, stack them higher bunkhouses now. Also, we should have a tavern here, so that's basically the only entertainment for the people at the moment. Is there anything we could do about that? We could get a circus. We do have the money for that. And it certainly is better than a tavern, so it might seem a little strange to have such a small colony and have a circus as well, but in the end of the day, this is a very good investment. Tempted to put it near the palace, but let's put it a little further away. Right there. Just so we don't have all the crowds near my residence there. So yes, where are the builders? Let's do an upgrade, more hands, that adds 2 job positions there, so hopefully things will get built faster. Of course, we can also speed up the game just while we wait. Another deal.
If I may have your attention, Presidente.
So Penultimo is suggesting here, this is not a mission, so we don't get a reward really for this, but he's suggesting that we decrease the unemployment rate, and of course I'll try to do that. This is almost like an in-game tutorial. Occasionally he will come up with various things asking you to build houses or reduce the unemployment and all of that. So it's a good guide. If Penultimo is complaining, you know you need to do something. But we can of course ignore that because we're still building various places that will employ people. And the graphics are just absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. Just fantastic. Okay, let's have a look. What are they doing? It's going to take a while. These lazy peasants are not the fastest workers here. And that's especially true for the teamsters. So we'll have to keep an eye on them. Unfortunately, we can't do an upgrade there at this point. It has to wait for the next era. But we could possibly do a loose load limit here. Now there's something to be said about this, but there's always a trade-off with this sort of thing. So that will increase their capacity to move stuff around the island by 50%, but they might lose up to 5% of the freight. Now the might, I'm not sure what the chance of that is, if each time they will lose 5%. Possibly they could clarify that, but you know, over a long time those 5% will actually add up to a lot of lost goods. And then of course you'll have the people saying, hey, I found this, it fell off the back of a truck, and in this case it would be true. Right, so the crocodile ranchers have full employment here. Chainmail gloves. That's of course so they don't lose their limbs to the crocodiles. I think we might as well do that. Anytime we can improve the job quality is a good thing because it improves the happiness of the people. So now we need to build a tannery. Now, can we fit that in here? I think it's best to do it here just so that it's right next to the port and ready for export. Just to make it a bit quicker. Of course the leather still has to get here. No upgrades available. Any trade deals? Nothing that I'm liking here. Well, the iron maybe. Let's do the iron, of course. We're producing a lot of iron, so getting that little extra 5% to the value is a very good thing. And this will satisfy the crown, since we are wholly dependent on their charity for survival at the moment. We can actually have a look at our relations with the crown. 50, it's not that great. Of course, the more they like you, the more money they'll give you. The circus is also done, and a lot of people were employed there. And let's just have a look at the quality. The service quality is 45. Now what is it in the tavern? 32. So you see it's much more valuable for them to visit the circus to get their entertainment needs met. If we have a look at some random citizen here, we can actually have a look at their various needs that they have. Now, of course, this says happiness, but these are all needs as well. So, of course, they need food. At the moment, they all have to walk to the banana plantation to get food. Then healthcare, there is no healthcare in the colonial era, so that will, of course, be quite low there. We just finished the tannery, so that's a good thing. We can just pause that for a moment. So the fun one, of course, is by visiting these various amusement locations like the circus. So hopefully that will go up a little bit more because it's a slightly better quality there. Religion, of course, comes from visiting the chapels and the churches and all of that. The housing is self-explanatory there. The job is, of course, where the job quality comes in, like the chainmail gloves there. Crime safety is again something we don't really have to worry about in the colonial era because we don't have police, so that mechanic is not really active in the early days. Also, we have so few people, but of course crime can still happen. Then liberty, now that's where the agitation for independence comes from at this stage of the game. But of course later on, if you are too oppressive of your people, then of course they'll seek liberty either by overthrowing you, or you can placate them by using newspapers or propaganda broadcasts and various things like that. So it's very interesting angles that you can take to solving the various problems that you are encountering here.
I must say I'm glad to be still working with you. Finding good help is so difficult these days.
Indeed. Between you and me, your little eccentricities make being here a little more bearable. Yesterday I found a spider the size of my hand just sitting on the chaise longue. Blighter probably wanted a payoff, everyone else does. It's worth reading all these extra bits and pieces. But so he's now happy, so the crown is happy, and we can choose our reward now. I always take the extend mandate because I like to take my time with things, so now we have 6 years before we are kicked out of the island here. So let's have a look. The coconut, okay, yes, the coconuts are also available for eating, so the people actually have 2 food sources now. Now in real life, of course, I'm not sure people would be happy with either bananas or coconuts as their only food sources, but for the game purposes that's sufficient. But of course we can always look at expanding the options. Now let's just have a look. They, oh yes, it's the hides that they take in and the leather that they put out. Now let's just have a look at, is there any leather trade route? No, still not. Rum might be worthwhile. Of course this is the Caribbean, so rum is a valuable thing here. But of course to create rum we need sugar plantations. So now let's just have a look if we even can grow sugar on this island. Azúcar, yes we can. So let's see, where can we put this? Possibly even, don't want to put too many plantations near the town because it will be expanding over time. So let's put it here somewhere, but towards the outer edge here, not where the beauty is, because obviously we would like to use that for something else later. So I think just here, and then we'll put a coastal road there. So many things you can do. It's really one of my favorite series of games. Tropico has always been something fun because you can live out your dictatorial fantasies here. Plantación de azúcar, s'il vous plaît, por favor. Actually, there's a little gap there. It's better to do it there because we would be losing a few tiles there. Let's put it there. Just of course have to connect it with the road. Now let's just see what's going to look the best here. It's not always easy to make the connections, but at least road building is very cheap, so it's not a real problem there. It has this strange curve, but I think that looks best. So we could possibly fit a country house or something in there. Let's just see, are the people living here? Yes, stack them higher. They filled that one up, and there's still a bit of room there. So let's look at our homelessness. Oh yes, much better now. Still a few broke ones, but also a few poor ones. So I think it's worthwhile building 1 or 2 bunkhouses at this point. Now it's very important to have a look at the information of the various accommodations. Now you can see this one is for tenants who are at least poor, and the country houses are at least well off or better. Of course, mansions are not really so important because we don't have rich homeless people here yet. So I like the bunkhouse because you can fit 6 households or families in each one instead of just 2. So if you have a homeless problem, that's usually a good solution, but of course you do want to have a look at the quality of the housing as well. Let's just put 1 here and then maybe 1 country house in between. Now what I'm not sure about is whether...
It is complete.
Aha!
Once again, the breadth of El Presidente's awesome political vision is shown.
Gracias, amigo. So no reward for that, of course. But yes, so the country houses in Tropico 5, they would use these little gardens to actually grow food for themselves, and therefore they would not require as much food or any food possibly from the other sources. I'm not sure if they actually were wholly dependent on those gardens for their food, but it doesn't say anything here. It just says low-cost building, so I'm not sure if they still grow their own food. It doesn't show here, so I'm not sure. It would be interesting to know. What's the options here? Little Eden, possibly worth it. Better than a shack is, of course, the standard settings. Little Eden increases the upkeep cost, but it also increases the housing quality, but it also means they rest longer, which means they work for shorter times, so possibly not the best option at the moment. Okay, at least we're getting money. So now it's a useful thing to be looking at your balance. Of course, you want your revenue to be more than your expenses, but we've been building a lot, so that's our main expense. So as long as your running costs are not higher than your running income, then you're okay. And of course, we get gifts from the crown occasionally. Now we see there's nothing in here. There is some leather here. So now once you start seeing that, it's probably good to start building more. Just see what's this guy doing. No. Good time to build some Teamsters offices, because the problem is, of course, just like in real life, your workers are not on the job 24 hours a day. So you can see here, 4 of our workers are now in their work time. So you can see their position on the way to the Teamsters office, on the way inside the dock. That was the one that just delivered something there, and on the way to a ranch. The other ones are on the way to the circus and also on the way to the circus. So that if the picture is slightly grayed out, it means they're doing other things, you know, just like normal people. So that's why it's a good idea to have more Teamsters offices, because that means more people will be working at any one time. Now, where should we put this? Probably just here again by the docks. It's almost like a warehouse in a sense. So I like the image of that. You would put your warehouses and your Teamsters by the dock instead of by the palace, for example. Of course, we can always move things around. I think I like this because at least it uses this bit of land here as well. 2 coconuts. You see, just one person is working at this moment, so it differs throughout the day. Now, of course, we don't have traditional day-night cycles here, but each time the blue bar is ticking one spot further down here, that's one day. So the others are on the way to the circus. Good grief, everyone is on the way to the circus, so it seems to be a very popular thing. I think it's a good idea to have that early in the game because it's not that expensive. It has a large capacity here and it has a decent quality, so it's a good thing. Only one person is performing though, but I guess he's a very good performer. Antonio Navarro. Now, I was looking also before I started this recording because traditionally, at least in the early days, Tropico was modeled on Cuba because, again...
Something does not feel quite right, Governor. I have a powerful desire to call you Presidente.
Gracias, amigo. Now, of course, this is the starting rumbles of our independence movement. We don't have enough approval yet, and of course, more than 60% of the people must also support the revolution. But yes, so Tropico in the early versions of the game, of course, did not have these various eras that you went through. It was just in the modern era, and of course, it still had the old cars running around and all of that. So it was very much modeled on Cuba. And I have to say, some people don't like these eras in the Tropico 5 and Tropico 6 versions, but I love them actually because you see the whole evolution of your country and you don't have to do everything at the start. You unlock buildings as you go, so it sort of paces yourself. But so I was thinking before the game, let's get some names from Cuba and then we can name our various settlements here. I think in Tropico 1, actually, if you built various buildings, you would get a name on the screen there for that town and you could actually rename it, I think. Now, there's various names here, so of course you get Santiago de Cuba, but in our case it will be Santiago de Tropico, so this is Santiago then. Then if we do build another settlement somewhere else, we'll name it something else. I know that's of course not the capital of Cuba, but in our case that will be our capital. Now, where are you, you lazy peasants? There's 4 of them on the job at the moment, but where are they? Oh, of course, they're building the bunkhouses. Never mind. Let's have a look at our citizens here. Can we rename people?
How are you today?
No, you can't. Might have been a nice thing to name them after subscribers or something. You know, just thinking in the YouTube terms again. Let's see, nothing here still. Come on now. Get this Teamster's office done.
More, Governor, more. Always more. Hop to it. The Crown demands.
Si, senor. Oh, don't look at me like that. There's a chap above me who hands the orders down, and I know you've a chap below you too. It's the pecking order, old chum. Don't make me a peck. Another tannery. We can discard this, although it will displease the crown. But we're not making use of the one tannery that we have already. I'll accept it for now. We can always reject it later. But you know, we're not even using this one, so why am I going to waste money on another one? No, at least you can keep these missions as long as you like. Of course, once our timer runs out, we'll be desperate for another mission. Okay, they are on the job there. Usually I think they build buildings in the order that you place them, but you can of course change the priority there. So what was finished? Oh, the iron thing. We can just renew that contract and they will pay us 5% above the standard price. So, of course, that's the thing. For all your main exports, you really have to be looking for trade deals like that. And of course, if you need something like nickel or whatever that you don't produce, you can always import that. So I like that mechanic as well. Now, we also have to build the Pirate Cove. Now, of course, a Pirate Cove is something you would like to hide, in my view anyway. It's not something you would like the crown to see. So where would we put a Pirate Cove? I'm not going to put it here, right next to the port and all of that. You want to hide it. At least role-playing a little bit. I guess the best place would be... no, not even there. Possibly here, you know, in some hidden cove somewhere. That's where you would place the pirate den. But we could also just put it here, but I don't think you can build on these rocks. Let's just have a look. Tourism, no. There, Pirate Cove. So this sends pirates out on raids to loot resources or people, and of course you can also acquire the landmarks, which are the new features of Tropico 6. No, we can't put it here. It's a shame, you know. Where else could we put it? Well, I think I might just build it here. I can quick build it so I don't have to send the builders on a long mission to get here. Now, of course, to get to the other islands, you start with a landing. So the landing, of course, allows your citizens and tourists to get into the boats and also to get out of them. Of course, they can do that at the normal port as well, but we need somewhere for them to go now. Now, I like to build ports and docks and things inside little bays and coves and things like that. So, I mean, that fits thematically. I think you would like to have your landings in a nice calm bay. So let's put it there, and then of course I'll quick build that so they don't have to get all the way here. And then I'll just put the pirate cove here. Now, of course, the landing there is for the pirates to actually get here from the town. Now, there's the pirate cove, so let's see. I think just putting it there, you know, in a nice hidden corner. Now, the normal ships won't see that because they would go in this channel here. So this would be a little bit hidden away. Of course, you could see it from there anyway, but of course I'm role-playing. Just quick build, we have more than enough money, and I would just need to... Gracias, senora, senorita. We appreciate your help. We will work hard to improve the luster of our disobedience. If the people keep polishing, we will one day be able to see our faces in this rebellion. I think 10 revolutionary immigrants is a good way to go because they automatically are supporting the revolution, and you see we still need some support there. And of course we need more people because our unemployment has dropped, so it's a good thing. Now, of course, let's just pause here. We need to build a road between the landing and the pirate cove. Now let's do this in a nice way. That's nice, you know, little curved pathway there. That works. I'm happy with that. So we don't have to build anything here more than that. If we do that, I'd like to rather put a new construction office here. Otherwise, the workers have to go all the way there and back in their little boats, which means they're not building anything else during that time. I think another sugar plantation would also be a good idea. Even if we're not making it into rum yet, we can... at least export that. It is a cash crop there. Should we put it like this or like this? Let's put it back to back. Put a road there. Okay, there we go. At least then we're getting something else to export. Iron and bananas. It seems iron is our major export at the moment. Now where's my leather? Good grief. Okay, they're all on the job now, so we should start seeing things move around quicker now. You know, it might be useful even if they added something to the almanac to say what is the current efficiency at which your goods are being moved around, because then we could gauge whether it's a good time to build a new Teamster's office. But I guess if you see things not being delivered, then it's automatically a good time. Very well, Penultimo. Citizens have higher food happiness if the food quality is high. Food quality is based on the variety of goods that count as food. So that's again what I said earlier. We have bananas and coconuts, but they need one more thing, and of course a grocery. Now the benefit of the grocery is they don't have to walk all the way to the farms or plantations to get the food themselves. They can just come to a central point and then buy it there. That's especially useful, I think, in this archipelago setup, where if you have a town here but no farms, they would have to take a boat all the way to the farms to get the food. But if you have a grocery there, then the Teamsters will just keep it supplied the whole time. Of course, then you have to have more Teamsters, because that will take a long time to supply by boat. Now, what other food source could we get? Possibly another good thing to get would be a cattle ranch, because we have the tannery, and of course we can just use the hides for more leather, and we do have some good terrain for that. I think we'll tuck it away right there, because it's still a decent quality of land there. And of course then we can make use of that space. There's the pirates now taking their boats to get to the pirate cove. 4 of them. Now let's have a look at our balance here. Expenses are still much higher. It's because of the construction, but the construction never ends. That's the issue. So we need some more income sources, and I would like my leather production to start happening now. So where did they take that leather then? Or hides? Did they just send it for export? Strange, because there's nothing here. I have to keep an eye on that. Maybe it's because it takes the workers a long time to walk to the plantations. There's nobody here. That's the thing, so I have to walk to the town and back.
To the ends justify being mean. But for independence, any sacrifice is worthwhile.
La Revolution! The people have taken this to heart and constantly try to find new ways to sacrifice for the cause. They are very inventive. Please make the sacrifice as well. For the people. Of course I will, Sophia. Now, of course, another tavern is not maybe the best thing, because this one is not being used because people prefer the circus. But we could build one and then destroy the old one, so there's always a solution to the problems that you have. So let's build one. It's very cheap. Maybe by the port, you know. That's a rough area of town, and that's where you could go for all the teamsters to get drunk. Somewhere where it's not going to waste space. I think like that. This little area can then be used, so all the dock workers and other laborers can get drunk here on a Friday night. But of course, hopefully not during their duties.